Welcome back to Starladder America Season 10, Day 6 coverage. We've got our second game of the day here, and what a tough act to follow. I'm still trying to simmer down a little bit here, Blaze. That was some intense base race action, and oh boy. EG, feeling the pain, and they'll be looking to make some recovery here. They'll be facing off against CNB, the Brazilian team here in the Starladder group stage, though. They've got a new sponsor. They're now known as Pain Gaming. I like it.
Yeah, a lot of the members used to go under that flag in past times and now actually getting picked up by them once again. It's a great Brazilian organization that's been in and out of the scene for quite some time now. But yeah, like you said, so difficult to follow that last game, how intense it was, and just a really what a good representation of how awesome Dota 2 can be. But we'll see. Evil Geniuses, they're going to be looking for blood after what we saw that last game. Got to be frustrating to go that far, that long, and then come up empty-handed. But one loss in the Starladder stages, it will put them significantly behind Navi US for the standings for now, but they're going to be looking to take what would be comparatively speaking, maybe an easier matchup for them. Brazilians, Brightest, still haven't had that great of results so far in the tournament, 1-4. Yeah, they are looking to make up some fallen ground if they're going to be able to pull into the top four and actually contest one of those top two spots. But we'll see for right now. An interesting draft coming out for both sides. Shadow Shaman Centaur going to be the opener for Pain Gaming, and we're going back to the Doom, but this time in the hands of Evil Geniuses alongside the Brewmaster.
Yep, definitely. And EG, I actually have just realized, glancing at the schedule, it's kind of an EG gauntlet today. Now they'll fight CNB, and coming out after this is probably the headliner of the day, Evil Geniuses versus Navi US, and that will be the big one in terms of those standings we were just talking about. So for now, EG versus Pain. Obviously, Evil Geniuses are the heavy favorites coming into this one. Probably like 90-10 or something like that on the bets. Maybe that last game skewing some of those last-second deciders. But, yeah, 6% for CNB, 94 for EG. So, obviously, the underdogs versus the heavy favorites. But Doom, Brewmaster, two very potent heroes for them. And Pain Gaming, CNB as they're formerly known, Rasta and Centaur for their first two picks. Interesting. You don't see that Centaur grabbed in the first two picks very often.
No, certainly do not, but at the same time, if you can go ahead and just pop Stampede whenever you see a Primal Split forthcoming, you can really negate some of the impact of that spell. If the Brew is close enough to get a Tornado off to keep one person locked in their tracks, then that might be enough to make the ulti worth it, but generally speaking, they are very frequently used to cancel one another out, and with the Venomous Gale, it's going to be even more important for Centaur to make sure that he makes those Stampedes as impactful as possible, because essentially they're going to try to prompt one or multiple ultis coming from EG and disengage, then take their fight at a better time when they have the wards up, when they have everybody else ready to fight it out. But we'll see, maybe look at some offensive opportunities as well, but for now, Evil Geniuses, they are really looking to get some kills pretty early. We do see that they are going to be going the Faceless Void combo that we did see before. It has not been banned out, but maybe Universe's confidence on the hero just a little bit shaken, at least for today. But nevertheless, the Venomancer are going to be an interesting pick here, and technically still could be a core hero, as is my preference, but more probability-wise, more often to be a support here.
Yeah, certainly. So, Pain Gaming will think about it, burn a lot of their bonus time as they decide how to handle this Veno pick, or at least how to interpret it. They still need a little bit of everything. They'll need their solo mid, most importantly, a second support, and whatever they choose for their position one. Here they go with a nice flexible pick. The Wraith King, of course, could be a support, could be a carry. Only time will tell. EG hedge their bets a little bit here in case it is a Faceless Void pickup in the position one, and they will grab the Earthshaker. Even if it's not a Void, still just a good support that they've utilized quite a bit recently.
So interesting here where they're going to be able to actually block things off permanently. The major obstruction here will make it so that it's difficult for Pain to choose their engagements as carefully as I was implying before. And yeah, I mean, this combo is one that you just don't run from. The Venomancer Earthshaker are probably going to get a couple pickoffs from the Centaur in the laning phase, and that's talking about against a Radiant offlane. Like, usually you feel safe there, you're able to leech from the jungle there, but in this position, if they try to use the Centaur up on the top, it's more often than not going to be hiding underneath its tower, because otherwise there's so much room for pickoff. But they may try to circumvent that with the Bat Rider pick here. If they move the Centaur to the mid, which is always possible, then the Bat Rider could at the very least escape the Fissure with that Firefly and perhaps evade a few more ganks. In either case, it's going to be their fourth hero pick here, and leaving their options open. If they can get a good disable off on the Brewmaster and burn him down in the Lasso's timing, I think this is a very valuable pick. But barring that, there really isn't that much value in picking this up other than the pickoffs. The Stampede, the Lasso, very synergistic. but they're going to have to rely on them pretty heavily just to gain any traction in this game.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, and it's just an interesting draft from Pain Gaming kind of in general here with how they're going to lane this. Some flexible heroes, and then Batrider and Centaur both normally in the off lane. Do you think maybe there's a chance of a Batrider mid? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's got to be either or in my mind. I mean, we
Yeah.
have seen safe lane Batrider play where they do a little bit of a tri lane action there, but I would say that I think the Batrider pick was in reaction to Earthshaker, so I tend it more to be in the off lane, but I'd say Batrider is certainly suited better for the mid lane than the Centaur is.
Yeah, definitely right there. Now, if EG wanted to run more of a core Veno, they could be looking at a Vengeful Spirit here to try and deal with the Batrider. Another swap. Great utility on that front. And, well, at least in the past few days of Starladder EU, we've seen an abundance of Venge picks. And Power Rangers have been running a quote-unquote Position 1 Vengeful Spirit. I don't know if that's quite the right description, but a farming Venge. Something that I don't think Evil Geniuses will want to do here, but still just some food for thought. They'll have plenty of bonus time, though, to think about it. Bristleback, the final ban from Pain Gaming. That feels a little bit out of left field for me.
Yeah, I mean, we have been seeing some interesting Bristle play in a lot of different role sets, and it is one hero that would probably survive through the combo they're looking for, which is just the Stampede, pull back with the lasso, and just burst them down with the double edge. With that, if they don't have any positioning control, that might be more difficult to manage, but barring that, it does seem a little bit odd. The Venomancer Earthshaker would definitely be forced into the support role in that circumstance. So not something I expect from EG, but at the same time, not fully unwarranted if they feel it's too counter-synergistic to what they're looking for. In either case, EG have a pretty open pool here for pick number 5 here with 40 seconds left in reserve time clock.
Yep, and we'll just have to be patient. There it is, the Naga Siren. So that's an old classic Arteezy hero there, headed to the mid lane, which means it will be a support Venomancer. And I guess probably the off lane Doom with a safe lane Brew. They could also switch it up a little bit, put Brew in the mid lane, and just safe lane the Naga. So a couple of options for EG, but pretty straightforward draft, pretty well-rounded. Plenty of late game secured. They've got some nice tempo controllers there in the Doom and the Brewmaster, and Veno Earthshaker, two supports that can certainly get a lot of work done and create some space for all these farming cores.
I don't know, man. I want to see something different. I want to see like a Medusa or something weird, just to really try something unique. There's a lot of merits to that pick in particular, but just to go something weird, go something that'll throw EG off a little bit. Lone Druid isn't that bad. I mean, you get the Mass Serpent Wards, you get the Bear pounding on the towers, and you're going to be able to pursue targets to no end. I mean, with the Batrider, the Stampede, the chase potential of a Lone Druid, if you catch somebody out of position, they're going to have a really rough time of it. But all the same, I think their movement might be a little bit predictable. The Lone Druid able to hound on towers if he gets a long-term opening, but you throw some Plague Wards underneath it, you maybe Fisher it away, and you're going to be able to ward it back enough that you're going to be able to keep your Tier 1 and Tier 2 towers alive for quite some time. So it's a nice pickup, and it definitely is something different, but we'll see if it's enough once that Naga gets farmed up on Arteezy.
Yeah. Now, mechanics question for you here, Blaze. Does the Bear get the benefits of Stampede?
Most definitely, yeah. Pretty much all player-controlled summoned units will be able to do that. Even the familiars are really good for it. But Bear, I think, is actually probably one of the better points to make there. As regards to full initiation, if they're going to try to just stay on top of them with Orb of Venom and Tangle right-clicks, yeah, I think that Stampede will be pretty huge in how the Bear moves.
Yeah, definitely. That's we see Lone Druids so seldom, and I don't know that I've cast a game recently with these two heroes on the same side. So that's a fun little bit of synergy there. And, of course, getting the Spirit Bear in the front lines, maybe hope for some of those entangling claws, can certainly set you off on the right foot. So Pain Gaming, unfortunately, do have a couple of stand-ins here. They've got Puppy Carioca. So a Puppy Imposter, not a name that I'm familiar with, but their stand-in support here. They will have King RD playing on the Batrider, starting off in the jungle. 4DR will be on the Lone Druid down here in the safe lane, and their second support will be old Netty here. He's tagged up as a stand-in, but we've seen him on CNB quite a bit, taking Helm on the Wraith King. That puts their other stand-in, Mino, on the off-lane Centaur. So a couple of names that I don't think we've seen as consistent stand-ins for CNB in the past, Blaze.
No, definitely not. These are just kind of, I think I've seen Mino, but like a year ago, and I can't really register his playstyle very well in my mind. So obviously they've pubbed together. They've had experience with one another, but they don't seem to be really like stand-in members of the roster itself. They're just kind of helping out for this particular day, which obviously gives more of an edge for EG. I mean, if they get upset by what is one of the lower ranking teams in the current tournament as it is stands right now with two stand-ins, then man, that is one huge confidence shaker.
Yeah, most definitely. Universe will be in the off lane with his boots first, and Fear will do some blocking to get him a little bit of lane control. With that Earthshaker, Clarity's up and will rotate his way what looks like up towards the top. That does put Zai in the solo mid role on the Brewmaster. PPD will be supporting on the Veno, and of course, Arteezy. He'll be going solo mid here, or why am I saying solo mid? He'll be going safe lane farm up in the top on that Naga Siren. So fairly straightforward lanes from EG. I think most of us are pretty aware now that PPD's been pretty vocal about the players moving out of set roles and just taking over more kind of heroes that they're comfortable with and following suit here in this match.
Yeah, I was actually watching PPD's stream earlier, and he was talking about how they really wanted to, when they were considering people to stand in for Fear and Mason's position, they were considering support players just so they could actually get the most out of Zai's potential. I mean, he actually plays core players like Meepo and Brewmaster very effectively, and we're actually going to get that opportunity to see him here. So shifting the roles a little bit, but only favorably. They know what he can do with micro-intensive heroes, and they want to see that put to use here in the mid lane. Already starting off the Magic Stick. Instead of going for the bottle rush, he sees his matchup, he knows what he needs to do, and he is going to take 5 napalm stacks. Oh, can't even say the word napalm stacks, but he does have plenty of Magic Stick to play defensively under the tower as it stacks up.
Yeah, core item against Batrider, no surprise there, but Batrider mid is a little bit atypical, and he should be able to secure a decent amount of farm. The big thing about Batrider mid is he'll get a lot of experience as King RD takes a Thunderclap under the tower, doing some decent damage here, but now Zai up to 10 stick charges. He may be trying to bait something out here from King Ardea and get him to overcommit and then pop the stick. Now, meanwhile, in the top lane, Fear will throw out a Fissure. Maybe not the positioning he was hoping for, but Mino still in a bit of a sticky situation. Fake pump in the Hoof Stomp. Will get it off just in the nick of time with 60 hit points to spare and will make it back to safety.
Yeah, fortunate for him, of course, the Venomous Gale at level 1 doesn't do any damage, and as well, the heroes that he stomped are 2 melee heroes, so no subsequent right clicks coming through. If the Venomancer was not blocked on the other side of the Fissure, then I do believe that's a guaranteed kill. But for now, it's just going to be him holding back under the tower, getting this wave of experience, and after it dissipates, most likely making his way back home.
Yeah, now there's a smoke rotation from Pain Gaming, the 2 supports coming into the lane. King RD's here, stacking up the napalm. There's your Shackle. Zai with 4 stick charges, but looking like he won't be able to survive this one. Ned's there with the Wraithfire Blast. He'll draw the first blood, and Pain Gaming off to a good start with a successful gank onto the Brewmaster.
Yeah, and the best part about this is how the Lone Druid down in bottom lane is going to be able to just chunk through this tower when he hits level 7, and the fact that he gets complete free farm for now. The Doom is going to be in the jungle here. He gets the Dark Troll Summoner Devour, so he is able to jungle very efficiently with the Little Skeleton Warriors, but all the same, they have seeded the bottom lane. His progression isn't going to be all that hot, kind of as we saw last game. He started off a little weak, but when we compare it to the fact that the Centaur gets to stay up here and get the full experience, we're going to be seeing them hit level 6 a lot more rapidly.
Yeah, and even just seeing a Lone Druid in free farm heaven is a little bit cause for concern, I suppose. He will go Boots and Orb of Venom on the Bear to get things started, get some Boots on the Druid, and off to a pretty standard start. Will be interesting to see what build 4DR goes for. It seems Lone Druids will sometimes test the waters and see how much gold they can pull up, and if they can end up getting like a 13, 14-minute Radiant, something like that, then they'll go for it, but more often than not, that's not really so viable, and you'll see, I guess, more frequently the Maelstrom come out onto the Spirit Bear as one of the first core items, and kind of build up from there, look towards an Assault Cuirass and other items that can really just chunk down towers very quickly.
Yeah, I would like to see the Maelstrom come out just to get more activity early on before Arteezy gets too big to deal with. But one big issue you got to worry about is the fact that Drunken Haze is very difficult to get off the Bear. You have to essentially go for a Monkey King bar. I mean, we've seen BKB in the Bear sometimes, but this isn't the game for that, I don't believe. So it just makes it so that you're in a weird position, either BKB or MKB. In either case, you're committing a lot of resources just to nullifying that mischance or maybe a slow from the Veno. So very frustrating that he's up against these heroes, but that's what they picked into, so they know the risks.
Yeah, Arteezy is getting good farm in the top lane, on par with CS, keeping up blow for blow with the Lone Druid. They're all tied up at 26 apiece, and he will just go Aquila first and then probably look to pull up towards the Relic here. We'll stop off for some boots first, and after that it is smooth sailing towards the Radiance. Another rotation in the mid lane from Pain Gaming. They want Zai, but this time it'll be a little more difficult. He's hit level 6 just barely, and Primal Split means he'll have that get-out-of-jail-free card. Even if they can force out a Primal Split in a more defensive fashion, then still a minor victory for Pain Gaming.
Yeah, they have to realize that if there's no vision on them bottom, and they're obviously not pulling because they have the Observer ward up since the beginning of the game, that they are going to be roaming, and they're either trying to make something happen up top, or more likely Zai just has to stay at the top of his steps here in the mid lane. But yeah, he's just going to be able to keep it held back here. Not finding much as far as farm goes, but if he can just get the wards quarried out to him, he's going to be perfectly fine. So we do see the wards and TP scroll coming out. This is just in case he really needs to get out of dodge, and he's stuck under the Firefly.
Yeah, now Fear has gone bottom to push back the Lone Druid, and pretty successful, a good hero to deal with the power of the bear, and also Fear finding some decent experience as the creeps shove into tower range. He is soon to be level 5, and now they'll get some lane control back. But at least this Earthshaker is finding a baseline of experience, and that is really where EG are finding their advantage. Their supports are both sitting level 4, and on the side of Pain Gaming, Ned has not found much. Only level 2 on the Wraith King, and sort of the same story for the Shadow Shaman, who's just now hit level 4, but still kind of slow on the uptake. King RD throws out a lasso onto Fear, but not even close to enough damage. Zai's right there. Courier flies through. He will use an invisibility rune and keep himself standing, just dropping down the Firefly, but Universe is here, and that will be a first lasso that does not yield a kill.
Yeah. If the Shadow Shaman had actually gotten a low to high ground shackles, they might have been able to burn down the Brewmaster during that duration, but as it stood, without the Stampede, they can't pull Fear far enough out of position to really make that worth the commitment. So in the end, it's a level 5 Earthshaker who survived for some great time on the offlane, avoids death with that cooldown, and it's actually going to be the Centaur to fall next. So they dive him under the tower, they make use of their ensnare to really make sure the Gale will connect, and yeah, with that follow-through, they do get huge farm momentum for Arteezy.
Yeah. And the slow from the wards there with that one value point in the Poison Sting, making Arteezy's life a lot easier, and secures a kill. So all of a sudden, Pain Gaming, sure they got that first blood, but you don't want to feed too many kills of that Naga, who's already free farming away. Now Arteezy is #1 on net worth by a nice little margin there, and a hop and a skip ahead of Mr. Lone Druid, who now has phase boots up on the bear and won't be pulling up for some sort of a super fast relic or anything like that. Just very standard stuff coming out of him. You mentioned the Maelstrom as probably a good first item just to let him get a little bit more active, and also a great item just to deal with the illusions of Naga before that Heart of Tarrasque comes out early on. The Chain Lightnings do work wonders in clearing up all those illusions.
Yeah, we'll see if that's the route he wants to go with. There are a lot of different paths he can take from this point forward, but it's actually going to be more interesting how fast King RD is able to take advantage of this Blink Dagger. If he's going to find an opening here with the fact they just placed an Observer Ward, giving them vision into the fog, yeah, Universe should die here. Like, they have all the tools they need to just go for the lasso, blink on him, and get the Entangle immediately after the fact. Yes, there is the defensive Fissure, but they can Firefly pull him over that and still go in for the kill.
Yeah, and here we go, King RD. An awkward blink, and well, that will not yield a kill. The Fissure comes out, and that'll be the end of it. So kind of a missed opportunity there from Pain Gaming, and a lot of wasted time for this Bat Rider. Well, he's given some time for Shadow Shaman to get some farm in the mid, so I guess it's not totally wasted time with him hiding in the fog there, as Shadow Shaman will now find his level 6. But you need to find something with these initial opportunities, and that window where Bat Rider can just find free kills with the blink before he gets the Force Staff is rapidly closing.
Yeah, quite surprised that turned out to be completely unsuccessful. Either not realizing how big that nerf to the Flaming Lasso range was, or just miscasting with his Blink Dagger. In either case, the kill is not found, but this tower might be. The siege going down, the Fortify is popped, this bear is wailing away at it, but Fear wants to hold it. Gets the stun out, but well, he does get the deny. The Enchant Totem giving him just enough damage, and now looking for the turnaround, at least on the bear. The Spirit Bear goes down, and 40R looking for the TP. Oh, just barely gets it away. But even still, it comes at heavy cost. A 300 gold bounty, going the way of Zai, and even looking for another kill to follow.
Yeah. Let's take a Wraithfire Blast with a haste rune up on Zai. Could be looking for a Primal Split if he wants to get very aggressive. Ned's only level 3, so not too scary on that Wraith King. But instead, Zai will just scurry his way back towards the mid and continue pulling up towards that Blink Dagger. No need to take unnecessary risks when you have all this unreliable gold and only 500 off the Blink. So good stuff from EG. They lose their first tower, but Fear not only sets up the bear kill, but a well-timed deny really minimizes the income there for Pain Gaming, and EG will take a gold and experience lead. 1,500 experience already in their favor. Universe just jungling away. Tranquil boots on the ground for a little bit of enhanced efficiency, and just going for that fast Midas. Gloves of Haste already picked up, and 1,000 gold to boot.
Yeah. Still, with all these disables, you'd think that Pain would have found another opening by now. This is the 10-minute mark with a very active lineup when the ultis all come out. But it seems like just the lack of Stentar Stampede is enough for them to deter them. The bottom tower getting denied and them not picking off the Brewmaster like right here. Like they've got the Lasso, they've got Shackles, they've got Wraith Fire Blast, a lot of potential stuns. But they just fear the retaliation of EG too heavily, and they're just going to take the tower clean.
Yeah. No defense from EG will be mounted. Instead, they'll focus their efforts towards the top lane. King RD TP's in, but it may be to his death. He'll lasso Arteezy, but one more auto attack ought to bring him down. That is a non-fortunate play for the Batrider. Now Artor, he just pops the Song of the Siren and TP's back to safety after forcing out a TP from the Lone Druid and the Centaur. That was very costly for Pain Gaming. 3 teleports essentially wasted, and the Batrider falls.
Yeah, extremely unfortunate state of affairs. I mean, yes, they did get the tower with their first wards of the game, but the wards get cleaned up, kind of giving that gold right back over to Evil Geniuses, and they expected to lose a little bit in the earlier stages here. 40 Hour really needs to make up for lost time with whatever he's going to accomplish with this Lone Druid. He does have the Gloves of Haste, so at least going to get more chances for those Entangle procs when he does get on top of a target. But at least for right now, seems to be struggling in that regard, as his net worth is falling flatter and flatter. Like, he had a great start free farm, but Arteezy is going to continue to pull ahead here, especially now that the mirror images are at full strength and can start farming up the jungle.
Yeah, an interesting item trajectory, though, from Arteezy. He does go for the Drum of Endurance right after the Aquila, and I'm just surprised because if he hadn't made that stop off, he would basically have the Relic right now, which would have been a fabulous timing. He'll still be at a pretty good timing and going for a little more fighting utility, and I guess all those extra stats did help him survive against the Batrider, so certainly can make a case for it, but doing things a little differently here as they now move into this top tier 1 tower. No glyph available, and Pain will not come to its defense. We see all of them rotating towards the bottom lane and perhaps looking for a potential tier 2. They do have roster wards available, so this is an option, though it won't be an easy push, and I think EG will certainly look to defend a tier 2 tower this early on. Instead, they'll smoke up and I guess just setting the trap, trying to bait out either Evil Geniuses so they can utilize this Stampede into a combo finally. Ooh, they'll find it on Zai, and there's your Stampede as he gets caught in the lasso. As long as he survives the onslaught, he can get off the split, but that's not happening. The Flame breaks there with enough damage, and the Centaur will bring him down. It will cost the Centaur's life. That's a 1-for-1 trade. Now the Batrider TP's home as he makes it to the high ground, and it creates some space in the bottom. Wards come out, as well as the Spirit Bear wailing on this Big Daddy, as Arteezy looking for the last hit, can't find the deny, and Shadow Shaman will secure it with the wards. So, nice series of plays from Pain Gaming. They trade a 1-for-1, but they do get a tier 2 tower out of it to tip the scales, and there's your Blink Dagger on the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, so I really like the movement there, at least from Pain Gaming, going in and getting that flank off, kind of getting a surprise attack. It wasn't ideal how the initiation order went, but in the end they get the important kill. They set back the Brewmaster away from his level 11, and that tower kill gets them that Blink Dagger. So more potential initiation, more potential follow through with or without Stampede, and that's what they've been lacking so far this game. Soon enough, Ned will be able to farm up his level 6, contribute more than just his aura and stun to the team fight, and that's going to be pretty huge as well. I'm curious if he goes for a Hand of Midas to try to transition into a semi-carry himself with like the Mjolnir build, or if he's going to go a different route. But at least for now, they're going to look to hold the mid-tier 1 as EG. They kind of go for the split. Arteezy farming down bottom, everybody else pushing in the mid lane, and ready to rumble with this primal split.
Yeah, Maelstrom's now picked up on the Druid, and we'll go over to the Bear, so that is a nice early game fighting item, as you mentioned, and will help increase the Spirit Bear's damage output by a pretty significant margin. Blink Dagger has been picked up on Zai as well. We haven't seen him use a primal split yet, I don't think. 14 minutes in, that's a little bit a characteristic of a solo mid Brewmaster, but just hasn't had too many great opportunities. Arteezy also level 11, 3,300 gold. If they can secure this tower with this push, that should be enough for his Relic, especially if they can take a decent exchange as well. Song of the Siren also level 2, which means a nice shorter cooldown, but he'll just cut his losses, head back to the top lane, commence the free farming, while the rest of EG continue to look for an opening. PPD smoked up, and Invisibility Rune bottled up by Zai.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Ortiz even bothered to go to the mid lane for the potential fight when he could just keep farming. Oh, the Spirit Bear taking some major hits here. Gets Fisher back. This is going to be a huge pickoff on the Bear. 300 gold going the way of PPD. And yeah, now he's going to be able to actually progress into an item. Like, you usually just see a support Venomancer sit on the basic, maybe Magic Wand, in this case Arcane Boots for quite some time. He will actually still pick up the Magic Wand, but he actually has some item trajectory here. He's going to be moving forward, and he will actually be able to pick up maybe something like a Blink Dagger come mid-game.
Yeah, the Bear is certainly worth using a little bit of mana to try and lock the Bear down. That bounty is just so much. Also gives a nice chunk of experience to boot, so worthy exchange there. And will help out EG even more. Now about a 3,000 gold and experience lead. Universe has picked up his Blink Dagger, but just retreats back to the jungle and continues farming away. Usually the jungle is reserved for the Naga Siren, but Arteezy hasn't been pressured that hard in lane and hasn't really struggled to find places to farm, and that means there's still plenty of space open for Doom and just opening up all this efficiency with these big farming tools. That is a relic on the way for Arteezy, and the courier will deliver it here momentarily. So we are looking at about a 17-minute Radiance, but that's with Aquila, Boots, and Drum of Endurance pre-relic.
Yeah, and a very warranted item progression from Ortiz. I think this was really smart to go for those extra little bit of stats so that he doesn't just get picked off lasso after lasso and end up losing that unreliable gold as he's trying to rush out the relic. So in this case here, he goes the safe route. He's still going to get it at an incredible time, and you can just watch how rapidly his farm increases. Like right now, only a few hundred gold away from the relic, he's at 510 GPM, but we're going to just see that skyrocket when he's able to farm the jungle with the illusions and just take full control of the map.
Yeah, Blink Dagger's coming out all over the place here. Centaur has grabbed his, which is huge for the Radiant side. The Force Staff also picked up on the Bat Rider, but now we'll see Fear pick up an early Blink on this Earthshaker. Only 60 minutes in, and a great timing for him. He's found a fair bit of farm this game. That will be 3 Blink Daggers on each side. So not only initiation, but a lot of counter-initiation on both sides of the coin. Now EG will back out. Good game sense here, or maybe just lucky movements as these camps have already been cleared out. They'll move into a more defensive positioning, and this aggressive smoke from Pain will be rendered unsuccessful.
Wow, that's actually quite surprising. They were able to get out of that one with all this initiation, the 2 blinks, the Stampede. You figured they'd find a pick with this kind of opening, but EG, they just are, I would say, a little bit lucky in how they moved there. Like, they obviously sensed a little bit of pressure coming forth, but to the extent that they moved in right when Pain were walking by, that's pretty huge. Now that we look for kind of a delay, they just want to actually sap down the Wraith King's HP so the Ned doesn't feel confident in where he's going to position himself for that next Reincarnate. So another set of wards drop, and another set of wards are farmed up. A lot of gold going the way of Evil Geniuses, and if we just look at the net worth graph in general, despite the tower kills that have come out early on, actually only 1 tower claimed so far, about to be 2 for EG. If the deny doesn't come out, come on, Trophy Karyoka! Not getting the deny until the last possible second, but a deny nevertheless. Either way, with 2 towers down, that is a 5,000 gold or net worth gain.
I totally picnicked there. I was like, deny where? And I looked at every other lane except the bottom. And yeah, that's I guess a bit of a misplay, but still.
No, he got the deny. It was just like it was siege creep. The projectile was like just outside of the hitbox of it, about to impact it, and he just barely cleans it up.
Yeah. So now the Radiance is out, and EG will be happy just to sit back and keep farming. Zai drops his Arcane Boots, takes Arcane Boots from Fear for a little bit of enhanced efficiency. And, oh wow, that's fun. I like that. Rolling the dice a little bit, that's always fun. Arteezy does use a Song of the Siren in the bottom lane as Bat Rider shows himself, but Arteezy just makes an easy escape and will go back to farming. Only 3-2, but pretty obvious, I think, that EG are the big benefactors of this slow passive farming game. They have a Hand of Midas and a Radiance Naga. They'll be happy just to sit back and keep farming pretty much for the next half hour or so if Pain Gaming will let them.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to bring down the Naga Siren at this stage. I mean, you have to think about, obviously, how much the Maelstrom can proc and how much damage it can deal, but also, I think at this point, they're almost just looking for a pick-off. It is possible, even when BOTs come out, first and foremost, the mid lane.
Well, speak of the devil, Zai will get caught by the lasso, and that will end up being a pretty easy kill on him. No chance to even use that Primal Split. And, well, Pain Gaming will level it up, 3 apiece. Kill is a step in the right direction, but they'll need a lot more than just a singleton pickoff with a 4-hero rotation than to really start regaining momentum in this game. Arteezy's 170 last hits in 19 minutes. That is pretty damn good.
Yeah. He is just going to be luxurious in a matter of minutes. When he gets the Yasha BOTs, he's really going to be able to move across the map and make it very difficult for Pain to pin him down. Whenever he has Song, he has an escape mechanism. But I will note...
Fear, is he going to go for the dunk? There's a lot of creeps inbound. I thought he might go for that, but nope. He'll just back up and play it safe. Now Zai comes in. There's your Thunderclap. Takes a Wraithfire Blast. Ned does have a Reincarnate and will be able to come back to life if they bring him down. Doom onto Mino. Stampede is on cooldown as Fear blinks forward. Will finish him off. And they also bring out the Reincarnation. Now the Hoof Stomp's there on the Doom. And yeah, Ned will go down a second time. So a nice 2 for no exchange from EG. Fear's patience pays off. And they will keep their tower standing, though it is in deny range and pretty close to death.
Yeah, so in this position, they're going to, of course, deny it, and they are now controlling the entire map. The Tier 1s are the only thing that you can really pick off against the Radiance Naga Siren without a huge collaborative effort. After that, the Radiance push is just cutting down the creep waves too substantially to actually like get just a freebie Tier 2. It's not going to happen. So we're going to see them having to make coordinated movements from this point forward. Fortunately, they do have the Stampede for this, but... the one thing that they can do is try to force out the Song TP, now that the BOTs are up on Arteezy, and then go for the Flame Break to break it. I think that's really their only way to guarantee the death of the Naga Siren, barring the perfect chain stun.
Yeah. Well, Zai appears to be going for a BKB on the Brewmaster. Has the Ogre Club, so I guess a little flexibility if he wants to go for the Ags, but generally a sign that the Black King Bar will be on the way. Fear looking towards a 4th staff, has that Ring of Regen up. Universe, he'll just move into a Black King Bar as well, so lots of magic immunity for Evil Geniuses. Let's take a look on the Druid. How's his farm looking? He's got the Maelstrom still up on the Bear, and 2,800 gold in savings, so still hasn't invested in anything quite yet, but Mjolnir very well may just be his next item of choice.
It's he's actually going to get the Demon Edge off the courier. He really needs that MKB, so that's what he's going to go for next, and that'll make it so the Drunken Haze just doesn't completely negate his impact in the fights.
Yep. Good call, my friend. Still, he has a pretty long way to go, and he just simply can't farm as fast as the Naga Siren. All things equal, if he had gone for a Radiance, maybe they could keep up kind of blow for blow. But like you mentioned, Arteezy will go for these movement speed items. BOTs already complete, so he'll be cruising around and can now have that luxury of farming other lanes and then pressing forward and helping out. Meanwhile, the top lane, soften him up with the Radiance burn. The Shadow Shaman tries to TP out. He gets taken out, and Ned has no Reincarnate. And it's a double kill for the Naga Siren. Arteezy wasn't even there. Those were just illusions.
Yeah. Not often you can say that you get the experience for the kills that your illusions claim across the map, but in the case of hero kills, it does work out. So Arteezy gets a nice little boost there, and just kind of communicating very well with Zai to find that opening after he burned them down so substantially. So we're not going to see the items come out just yet for Zai because he isn't picking up those kills. He's got 4 assists to his name, actually. But even still, they've got control of the map right now, and that makes it very difficult for Pain to feel confident going into these next bits. I mean, 40R hiding out, just trying to farm the enemy Ancients with his Spirit Bear here. He is going to be able to clean those up, but at severe risk. I mean, in this position, there's no easy out. If he gets caught by like the Ensnare or the Song, there's no TP for him.
Yeah, and there you go. Song of the Siren set up. All the reinforcements for EG are inbound, and 40R will get punished for his aggression here. I don't see any way he survives this one. There's your Thunderclap, your Ensnare, Fissure, and that's a dead Druid. He had that bear alive for a while, so we'll be able to summon another one upon his respawn. But that's the big farmer for Pain, and if he keeps getting picked off like that, things will get worse very, very quickly. Arteezy now essentially doubling his farm after finding that kill there and the double kill up top. Now 14k versus the 8 on terms of total net worth. EG will feel pretty comfortable just moving straight into the Roche pit.
Yeah, absolutely. Batrider will be able to pick up the tower. I don't know why they actually did not deny that. You were talking about it, maybe Fear going in for the dunk and making a big play happen. In the end, they still get the pursuit, but they kind of forget about the tower, leaving some gold on the table. So, it's easy pick for Pain. They're going to be able to get some nice gold out of that, but will it really amount to enough items to turn this back around? I mean, right now the Roshan's dropping quickly. Aegis is going to go to the Naga Siren. It's already hard enough to kill her once. Killing her twice? My goodness, it's just
she's not even really that tanky yet. I mean, 1,400 HP, 17 armor is tanky-ish, but relative to how tanky she will be coming up soon here, yeah, that's where things get really scary. Now there's that Yasha in the inventory, another one of those great farming items, pushing that Naga close to max movement speed, 483, so she's just slithering up a storm. And they're ready to fight. Evil Geniuses will start to get a little aggressive here as Mino taking that Radiance Burn. He will get caught by Zai's Thunderclap, takes a crit, and not much the Centaur can do. Will use a Stampede, a long-range net, as Arteezy sets up a kill, and it is Fear that secures that one with a fissure.
Yeah, so with all these pickoffs going the way of EG, when Pain are drafting the pick-centric lineup, they are just, I mean, they're not just hurting in the carry department. They're really just hurting in their entire control of the map. They did pick up this gem to try to regain that lost momentum and actually might find a pick on Zai, but they drop down the ward. At best, they get a D ward. They won't find an opening. But yeah, they got the gem. Hopefully the Batrider can hold on to that for some time if they're going to stay in this game, but it's just allowed them to take out a couple wards that were placed offensively from EG, not really allowing them to start putting pressure on the other side of the river. And with that, the tier 2s aren't really taking any hits. The Naga Siren's farm is pretty much at maximum, and yeah, like you said, those big items are coming out. Mantis Tau already up for Arteezy.
Lasso on to Zai. Will they have the damage to bring him down? Split is available. PPD's there, but nothing he can do to stop the damage output from coming. Vartor was inbound, could have used a Song of the Siren there to turn the fight, but he's busy farming in the jungle, and now has his Manta style. Again, Pain find a pick on Zai. I don't know what it is about this Brewmaster, but they've put a lot of priority into shutting him down. He is actually the only hero they've killed. They have 4 kills, and he's 0-4.
It's a brutal game for him, but he is the target they want.
Oh, the Slam! Base and Tremble. Ned will survive. In comes Mino, but out comes PPD's Poison Nova. That'll proc the reincarnation. Mino will survive for a couple seconds, gets off the Stampede before going down. Ned will try to isolate Fear and will be successful in that front, but won't have the damage to bring him down, and Fear will just TP out as he is completely stuck in the tree line. So 1 for 3 trade, I guess you could say, as they started off with the kill on Zai, and then EG were there with the response, and pretty much clean house.
That was no shock indeed. That Echo Slam, that might be the GG dunk right now, because at this point they're already so far behind, but pushing in the towers, getting all this kill momentum, Arteezy is just going to be an absolute monster on the back of his supports, and yeah, there is very little you can do to hold this without like perfect positioning, perfect pickoffs. The BKB on the Batrider will help you engage, but it won't set you anything up. I mean, like, we haven't even looked at, like, Universe. He's been farming up this whole game. He's been very quiet, not really that many Dooms coming out, but in the end, because the Brewmaster's been the one that's been getting picked off, he's able to farm up towards the Shiva's Guard, this full BKB, this Blink Dagger, and can pretty much just do whatever he wants. We'll just leave the tower down bottom. That may or may not be a mistake. The Plague Wards will try to take the tower, and they will not be successful. Wraithkin gets a deny. Veo gets a quick trip to the grave, but he'll buy back. This isn't even like Rage. This is I Ain't Even Mad back, and they're going to go right back into the fight.
Yeah, Fear will finish off the Shadow Shaman. Wards come down, but not doing a hell of a lot. King RD manages to get off a lasso, but it doesn't yield a kill. Mino will take the Doom. He'll get finished off, and you can just see the farm difference here. Pain Gaming getting completely cleaned up, and EG really not that much worse for wear. Their Earthshaker tanked the lasso and pretty much all the damage output, and he's still alive. Meanwhile, in the base, Arteezy with a Aegis of the Immortal still in the inventory. He won't be too afraid. He'll go in pretty deep, looking for a kill on 40R. Does end up falling, but he'll come right back up. And Druid will actually have to get stampeded to make it back to the well. Now Arteezy, it seems like he's in trouble, but oh, don't worry. He's got a Song of the Siren, and she blows. And he'll just slither back to safety. Just picks up a Diffusal at the enemy shop. You have to stop off at the grocery store while you're killing some heroes, and he'll survive, make some illusions, sets up to stop the Blink Daggers, softens him up. Zai goes back in. That'll be a dead Batrider. Down goes the Shadow Shaman and the Centaur. Another slam dunk from Fear as they dive the well. 40R gets cleaned up, and Ultra kill for Allison. He will fall to the fire bush, but GG well played is called, and EG with a dominant performance over CNB, now under the tag of Team Pain.
And that was absolutely insane. He went from like 510 gold per minute at the 15-minute mark and broke towards 800 by the end of this 28.5-minute game. Evil Geniuses, I mean, they could play this, like you said, they could play this game for another 30, 40 minutes and it would just get worse for Pain. But in 28.5, They're able to seal the deal, giving the Nagasarans 760 plus
Oh,
gold per
man.
minute. Yeah, I mean, they had to bite the Zai a couple times with the Brewmaster, but only to just set up the team for success. Great play from Fear with some amazing fishers. I had one really, really awesome Echo Slam, but of course, Arteezy got to be put in the spotlight here with that amazing GPM.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, coming up next, guys, we've got another good one. There are 6 games on the docket today. That's 2 down, but probably the headliner for our coverage of Starladder America Season 10, Day 5. EG versus Navi US, and this is the big one. These are the 2 top teams right now in the group standings. They were both undefeated until EG took a spill against SNA earlier. It is scheduled to start in just about 20 minutes, so we'll have a decent break here, and Blaze and I will be coming right back. You can follow us both on Twitter, @SaioriTV, @BlazeCasting, and @Beyond the Summit if you're enjoying the coverage so far, but stay tuned because plenty more Starladder Season 10 coming up after this.